Bad advice for me that I received was that I needed to have a very regimented schedule, that I needed to have a routine, that I needed to have time blocked and very, very organized on my calendar. And that if I didn't do that, I was going to feel out of control. I wasn't going to be able to achieve all my goals. That was bad advice for me.
For founders, the advice never ends, so discernment becomes a valuable skill. Think of this show as practice. I'm Lindsay Tjepkema, and this is Actually I Can. Good conversations about bad advice. Let's get into it.
I am Jen Spencer. I am the Chief Growth Officer at a company called Booth. We're a global outsourcing provider that provides AI-enabled talent globally across the world for many different organizations. I'm also the author of a new book, Lead Anyway, which is a leadership book with a lot of my stories. And I get involved in a lot of other types of things on the board of Legacy Executive Club, a Pavilion Phoenix chapter head, and investor in a number of SaaS companies.
I love it. And we actually met probably several times, but one of the ways we got to know each other was being fellow women CEOs of tech companies and all of the very special flavors of highs and lows that throws your way. So I'm excited to dig into this with you. So as we get started, what's the bad advice that you want to talk about today that you received as a leader all these years?
Bad advice for me that I received was that I needed to have a very regimented schedule, that I needed to have a routine, that I needed to have things time blocked and very, very organized, very, very intentionally on my calendar. And that if I didn't do that, I was going to feel out of control. I was going to feel I wasn't going to be able to achieve all my goals because I like to get involved in a lot of things and that I really needed that in my life. That was bad advice for me.
Is that something that you've received kind of over and over? Because you've held leadership positions, as you mentioned, not just professionally, but like extracurricularly,
Yeah.
professionally on boards and things, writing a book. Like, has that been specific to your role as a CEO, or has that been like throughout and
Yeah,
something you realized later was bad advice?
I know it's been throughout. It's been throughout. It usually comes with in response to me asking, okay, how can I do more? It's me wanting to put more kind of on my plate. And it sounds like great advice, right? It's like, okay, like there's only so many hours in the day. So be intentional about how you spend each and every one of them. And so that's advice that I've heard directly from board members, from colleagues, from mentors. It's advice I've heard from my peers. It's advice I've read in LinkedIn articles and listened to on podcasts. Like there is more than somebody. There are somebodies out there, right, who have succeeded because that's what they did, right? Like they were a hot mess and then they got their act together, their schedule together, and then the sky opened up, everything was great for them. It worked for them, which is great for them.
Right. It makes for a good story, right? When you feel, I mean, because when you're in any sort of leadership position, you spend most of your days, I think it's safe to say you spend most of your days feeling like your life is chaos. It's a mess. Like whether it's you open up your computer on a Monday morning and you're like, I know what today's going to look like. And then the team, the world, the customer blows that up. Or, you spend a lot of time not like outside of your comfort zone, not knowing what you're doing. So I think the allure of feeling like, oh, if I could only get this under control, things would be better, right? So you can see how people would succeed by telling you and others, like, you need to have a schedule, you need to have a regiment. And oh, by the way, go with mine that is, for the low price of this course or book or coaching session, you too can get your chaos under control.
The bonus advice that comes with this schedule advice is wake up the earliest you possibly can, get as much done as you can before the sun is up, and go to bed early and get your 8 to 10 hours of sleep, and all
Mhm.
those things. That's the other, like the advice that comes like as a side dish to the schedule
Mhm.
advice. That also doesn't work for me.
I think all of us have received this advice, whether you are a morning person or an organized person or a night owl or a,
Yeah.
dumps your desk is a dumpster fire. As I look at mine right now. What do you think that's really about, right? Like about somebody else's definition of success, someone else's definition of what good looks like or what a good CEO or leader or C-suite or founder looks like, or do you think that somebody else benefits off of you feeling like your life is chaos? Like what, like going a level deeper, like why did you select this and why did it hit deep enough for this to be the thing that you wanted to focus on?
Yeah. The reason I wanted to talk about it was because it's advice that, like, it sounds like really good advice. And it's like and it's probably really good advice for a certain kind of person, right?
Mhm.
Uh, and so that's why I don't mind being contrary and
Mhm.
saying like, "Hey, we're not all built the same, we don't all function the same." I think the idea of the advice makes a lot of sense if you don't 100% know the person inside, right? So, if for like the average executive, and especially founders, entrepreneurs, who have shiny object syndrome, right? You can see how it's like this is a construct to ensure that you get done the things that you really want to get done. I haven't met a single person that would be listening to this podcast who was like, at the end of the day, go, "Wow, I, I just did everything that I wanted to do today, and it was great," right? Like, there's
Yeah.
no but so I can see how it's like, okay, this would make sense for helping you make sure that you do what kind of you need to do, and you're prioritizing the things that matter most to you. And I have no beef with that at all. It's more that as an individual, I have a better sense of what I'm capable of in that moment. And as long as I'm connected to my goals, I understand all of my goals are aligned, and I'm very, very clear on what I'm seeking to accomplish, then it's up to me to use my personal autonomy that I have to make the right decision in that moment for like what I need to do. Of course, then there's calendar stuff and scheduling and things that you don't 100% have control over, but I'm talking about, like, the controllable time that that
Mhm.
that you have.
Yeah. Okay, so when did you actually realize this was bad advice and how long, like what did life look like when you thought it was good advice?
So, I've always thought this was great advice, like, up until very, very recently. I think it's only been the last probably 6 or 7 months since I've given myself permission to say, "This advice is not good for me,"
So
right?
pretty
So this
recent. This isn't
this is
like
very
6 or
new.
7 years ago. This is like
No,
months,
yeah,
days.
this is months ago. This is recent. I would hear it and think, "I don't think this is right for me," but my interpretation was, "Something's wrong with me. I
Yeah.
have to fix myself so that this advice can fit me." And it's been a lot of learning and development and growth and experience to go, "Wait a minute. I don't have to change myself. There's something else that I can be doing."
Yeah. Okay, so there's the thing, right? That finally realize was just again so much easier said than done. Which is like, oh, you just have to like know who you are and like know how you work and be bold enough and brave enough to say that, hey, that's not for me. But like what do you think it was for you? I mean, because you've been a leader a long time. You were, a CEO for a long time. You wrote a whole book. I mean, it's been out for apparently you went through all of this either like when you're finishing up the book or post book. So you've done a lot of really
Yeah,
big things
yeah.
thinking that advice perhaps was for you, and in your words like that maybe something was wrong with you or the way that you were doing things. So what was there a, what was it that finally made you realize like no, like I'm doing all of these, like I've done all of these things with quote unquote something wrong with me, so maybe there's not something actually wrong with me.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
it for you?
A couple things. So one is I started thinking about how I wanted to spend my time and what types of things really fueled me and what things drained me. This is like classic, like that this isn't groundbreaking, right?
Easier said than
Um
done though.
Easier said than done, yes. But like sometimes I'm all about like old school, like pro con list or like energy or depletion, whatever, like write it down. and be really, really, really honest. And like, no, like, okay, I'm the only one that's going to see this. No one else is going to see this. And so I want to be totally honest about like what fuels me and what really drains me. Because I think it's when we're in a leadership role, we have to wear these masks a lot, or we're asked to wear these masks, right? Like, okay, what's the mask I'm bringing to my board meeting, and what's the mask I'm bringing to my, all hands meeting, and what's the mask I'm bringing to my client meeting or a donor outreach meeting or what have you. Like it's that's just being a good savvy communicator, executive, like, okay, how do you need to position yourself like in this moment? So when you take all that away, you strip all that away and you go, okay, just my work day is my time. This is like how I'm spending my energy. So I want to document all that. So I think that was kind of one of the steps. Then it became a little bit clearer. I did a vision board exercise. So I'm a member of Legacy Executive Club. I'm actually on the board, and we do all kinds of fun things. And one of them was we brought in a coordinator, a mediator to help us craft our vision boards. And I had it done a vision board in like a long time. Like I think the last time I
I
did
don't
a
remember the
vision
last time I
board
did one.
was like probably in like 2009 or 10. And I was an executive at Arizona Theater Company at the time, and I was selling beauty control spa products in a multi-level marketing kind of a, side
Oh,
hustle. I
yeah.
think I made a vision board for that. So then I was been kind of off vision boards, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna lean into this, right? So I did my vision board, and what happened when I did my vision board is I started to see how all of these things in my life that I was spending energy on, and when I say life, I mean life slash work, because it's all one big
Sure
thing for me.
is. Yeah.
Um, I started to see how they were all aligned. Like I started to see all these connections, and it wasn't intentional. It's just they were actually connected because I've been working on getting my life really well aligned. And so then once I saw that, then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I'm doing something right. Like I am constantly telling myself, you're doing something wrong. You've got to be better. How can you be stronger? How can you do more? How can you improve 1%, all of these things we hear all the time, right? I needed to hear, you're doing something right, right? Like this fits. And so that was one piece. I had a very dear friend give me a planner, a scheduler. And I opened this up. I'm staring at this right now because I was like, I can't use the planner until I have my pens. And I bought these like very nice colorful pens, like these different gel pens. And I was like, I'm gonna go all in.
Oh my
And I got
gosh.
my planner, and I opened the planner up, and it has like this discovery of what you need to do. And I was like, nope. It's
I love it.
gonna
Oh.
combine anything to- 'cause
Is
I
it still empty?
and then there's stuff in there.
Empty-ish?
Like I've actually, to be really honest, I've actually been thinking about revisiting the planner with like my own terms, which
Mm,
the creator of this planner, I think she would approve. So, but
got it.
I'm
Okay.
gonna consult with her. But yeah, I was like, I didn't want to commit to anything
Mhm.
that then might not fit me. Like if it works today, is it really work tomorrow? And
Yeah.
and some of this comes from, I've had a really fulfilling career, and I'm not done. Like I'm still going. But I've also had a lot of pretty concerning, health issues that have come up. And I'm not always fully in control of my body, how I feel, and that has a big impact on the work I do. So I have to be flexible with myself. And so what I started to shift to is like, okay, when I feel good, what does Jen feels good? What does that look like? What does that day flow kind of look like, right? Or, if I'm hurting, then all right, like I can't afford to just call in sick for the whole day. I mean, for the most part, right? Little
Yeah.
things that can happen. But then like, how do I show up as the best that I can do? Like, what does that look like? And I think it's been the last those last kind of few months have been figuring out, all right, like what does it look like on an A day, a B day, a C day, a D day, etc. Right. And then I'm getting into kind of that schedule. So someone might say, well, that advice about scheduling and planning, you backed into it, right? Like there, here you go. But the approach was so different because the
Yeah.
approach was like, now I've got this willingness to kind of take it on and go, okay, let me check in with myself. Let me check in with my calendar, with my mind, my body. All right. It's like going to a restaurant. You're like, I'm gonna have this entree today. This is what I'm gonna have today because
Yeah.
this is good to me. Um, so
Yeah.
that's what the last kind of few months have been like.
So it's I mean, it's starting with where your energy is what it sounds like. Like, checking in with yourself, seeing where your energy is, and designing not only your role and, this stage of your career or what you wanna be doing, with your vision and your vision board, but also from a day-to-day standpoint, it's where is your energy and how can you fuel it instead of working against it?
Yeah, especially for anyone who's a founder or in a very entrepreneurial seat. I'm not the founder of Booth. Booth was co-founded by Carmen and Jamie Booth, but I'm an executive overseeing marketing, sales, client services, and we're taking the organization through a pretty big transition in the age of AI, right? Especially for outsourced teams. And it's something that's very, very different. And yeah, so there's a lot of actual like tactical work and the way that we do work that's shifting and the way that we sell and position, but then also the way that our teams actually engage with each other and share their successes. There's all these things that are kind of that are shifting. And so it also in my role, I don't just get to like come to a meeting and have an idea and then like I have to have the big bold ideas. Like the questions like, okay, like how do we transform our business in the next, 5 to 10 years? And oh, by the way, like if we can do it in 1 year, that would be really great, right? Like, and how do we motivate our people and how, all of these bigger questions, they're not just like, okay, I'm just gonna like hunker down, put my head down, jump into an Excel spreadsheet and like kind of like get this taken care of. Like
Yeah.
some of these tasks that I have on my list, they're they require thinking. They require
Mhm.
to kind of think
Right.
and be creative. And that creativity, sometimes some people you might know yourself really well and know, okay, like these hours I tend to be a little bit more creative. Like I'm definitely more creative in the evenings and in my downtime. It's when I'm not trying to work that the really good work ideas do not stop
Yeah.
flowing.
Yeah, of
Right.
course. Yeah. Which is why I mean, we talk a lot about you've got to hold space for creativity. You've got to when you are leading, whether it's a founder building something from nothing or an executive that's pushing, a business forward, or you're on the board and you're trying to fuel an organization, you're there in large part, like what you're saying, to think. You are there to think. And when you are under an immense amount of pressure, that creativity and human connection and audacity doesn't have any space to move. And so yeah, there's a reason we come up with ideas in the shower. There's a reason we come up with ideas when we're, either falling asleep or waking up in the morning. To your point, it's when you actually have the creative energy and the space to let it breathe, right?
Yeah. It's like if like I know I have a certain amount of like execution work I have to do, a certain amount of thinking work I have to do, a certain amount of reflection and I'm gonna break thinking into like reflecting on past, and all the little postmortems and after actions we do to also like dreaming and like more creative ideation and it doesn't work to go, well, I'm gonna block out from 2 to 4 on my calendar creative
Mhm.
time. Like it's just not gonna work, right? But what I can do is not have my schedule be back to back to back to back, like nonstop all day, right? Or to give like to actually to kind of organize myself a little bit and give myself some kind of some space. But also to give myself the time to pivot. So if I might say, well, this is something I really want to get done today. I'm in front of my computer. I feel like my eyes are starting to cross, like starting to get that headache, like right back here.
Mm.
and I'm like, "What do I need right now?" And it could be that I need a nap,
Yeah,
right?
truly. Yeah,
Like,
or a
so it's
walk
like,
or a glass of water.
yeah,
Yeah.
can I take a 20-minute, right? Like, what can I
Yeah.
do? Or maybe it's like, "Okay, wait a minute, I'm looking at my schedule, I actually have some time. I'm gonna go work out. I'm gonna go take a class, or I'm going to walk my dog, or I'm gonna what have you." And I'm gonna take that unstructured time, and I'm just gonna live in it. I'm not gonna assign myself a job to do while I'm in that unstructured time. I'm just gonna embrace it for what it is. And ultimately, the brain does not stop. So ultimately, that unstructured time turns into something really amazing, really beautiful. But then I hurry back, and now it's like I've now got this extra energy boost to like go and execute on that idea.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's like it's having creating space for yourself to kind of do that. But also, if I had a day where I was like, I was just in grinding mode and I
Yeah.
want to sit in front of my computer all day. Now, my hamstrings will probably really angry with me later. Like I need to, probably shouldn't just sit and crank it all out. But I've also had days where I'm just in front of my laptop and I'm there all day, and someone else might be like, "Oh my gosh, like aren't you exhausted?" No, like
Mhm.
I'm not. Like it is flowing, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's never you don't know until you're in the thick of it.
Yeah. And I think so often, at least it's been my experience, so often the world tells us that the grind is the thing. The grind is the job. And to sit in front of your computer and Zoom calls and spreadsheets all day is the job. And I couldn't agree more. That's such a fallacy. I mean, you're there to connect, and you're there to think, and you're there to be creative, and you're there to build relationships, and you've got to give that space to flourish. You just have to.
Yeah. I think it's also it's like I have to remind myself. Like I have to remind myself sometimes, let's say I am like stepping into a long call, especially being in a, like virtual, like our people I work with are global, all over the world. I'm working with people in the Philippines and Canada and Colombia, across the US as well, and even in Europe. And so there's times where we can't always get together in person. If we can, awesome, right? But we can't always. And so we end up doing these sessions, and you see them on your calendar, and you're like, oh, it's like a 3 hour or something like that, right? Kind of like a exec session, and you think about, unfortunately I think about like all the things I could be doing, all
Yeah.
the things I could get done, right? If it weren't for that. Or it's like a 15-minute networking call or whatever it is, right? And you're thinking
Hmm.
about, okay, is this really worth it? And I just sort of shifted my thinking. I trust that my values are and my needs are all aligned. I trust myself that I said yes to the right things. Like I've already gotten to that point, right? Where it's like I know what I need to do. I know what I don't need to do. I don't need a regulator for that. What I need now is Jen, in the next 15 minutes, 3 hours, whatever the time is, your job is blank. And it's reminding myself of like, what is the best thing I can do? Like, what is the best outcome of this time? Because sometimes it might be being able to unblock something for a team member, or it might be having a very novel idea or saying something, sharing something in the room that no one else would say.
Yeah.
Right? Or it could be just, I'm there to learn and just
Hmm.
soak up as much as I can. But when I give myself an assignment like that, it's usually when I feel like my plate feels full, and I feel like, is this I start questioning my original judgment of like, how did this get on my calendar? Did I say yes to this? Like, why? Right?
Yeah.
Trust myself, like, "No, no, no, like, you did this with intention, your values are aligned, you understand what you need to do, this is your job right now." I'm like, "Okay." Give myself permission to just be in the moment and be present.
I was just gonna say that. Sounds like a really great way to be present. Like
Yeah,
to really intentionally, instead of being like, I'm going to be present, it's like because like I'm here to do X. I like that.
yeah, yeah, it's like it's especially when you're an overachiever, I don't know any of them. Do you know any
Me neither.
overachievers?
No, I don't. No. Mm-mm. Can't relate. Can't relate at all.
you're an overachiever and you're like, oh, but there's just more, more, more. And especially
Always.
years of working in organizations that and being and every time I succeed being told, okay, what's next? More,
Yeah,
more, more, right?
always.
So I've been conditioned to always like want to do more. And so I have to be very strong with myself and go, no, this is what you need to be doing right now. This is it, right? Like do this thing really, really well. And I think that makes you it makes me at least, it makes me a better leader. It makes me a better subject matter expert in whatever it is that I'm consulting on, I'm doing. And I think it just makes me a better human because I'm able to better connect with the
Yeah,
people in that moment.
yeah. I was gonna ask too about how all of this, these realizations and structure or lack thereof, how that impacted you or how that came about when you were writing your book.
When I was writing Lead Anyway, that it was a very self-indulgent experience for me. I'm not gonna lie, right? I wrote the book while I was in between, full-time roles. I actually didn't know. So I stepped down, I parted ways with Smart Bag Media as CEO, and I was doing some consulting. People and the consulting was people coming to me saying, "Hey, can I please hire you to do this project?" I was like, "Okay." But I was really trying to just take some time for myself, only say yes to the things that like really, really inspired me and got me excited, um, and just kind of explore and write this book and tell my stories because I wanted to get it all out, right? And the only thing timeline I had pressure wise was I thought it'd be really great if I got it done that calendar year because I would love to have it done before the end of 2025. And so I did that, but I didn't force myself to like a you're going to write X amount of words per day or anything like that a lot of writers have done. But I did have like chapters or like periods of or sections kind of the book that I wanted to tackle on about like a weekly basis or so. But I would also look at my schedule and be really honest and realistic about am I going to be able to produce like my best work through this, during this kind of time frame. And so and I say that to I say share that, sorry, to say that if it wouldn't have worked out, like the deadline of the end of the calendar year was my goal, was my target that I got to make. And so if it wasn't going to work for me, it was is artificial date. It was just a date, right? And I could have shifted it. But once I had the momentum, it just sort of it made sense. And I was able to align to that kind of that schedule. There's a lot of moving parts when you're writing a book and working with an editor and you start working with graphics and design
Yeah.
and all those pieces. And throughout all of it, I think what kept me the most grounded and the most on track was again going back to like, what's my intention with this? And what am I trying to achieve? Who is this for? And that alone, like that just kept me on track.
Mm. And it was yours. It was
And it was
yours.
fun. It's
It was
fine.
yours.
Yeah.
Okay, so as
Yeah.
we bring it all together, what advice would you have for founders and leaders who might be feeling like there's something wrong with them because they're not their schedule doesn't fit nicely into a beautiful planner and they're not, getting up and cold plunging at 4 in the morning. Um, what would you say to them?
My advice is to really take stock of yourself. Like, spend some time with yourself. Like, really. I know that sounds so cheesy, but,
Important.
but really spend some time with yourself, and if you can't do it, if you're struggling to do it on your own, maybe you want to get a coach or a therapist or have someone that you can talk to, that can be like an honest, kind of reflection with you and not bring their own story or their own, expectations to the conversation, but really understand yourself and figure out, okay, what makes me tick and what makes me not want to tick, like whatever. I don't think talk's the opposite, Lindsay,
Yeah.
of tick. Would love that would be great. But
Eh.
there's something that makes it just harder, things harder for you. Figure out
Mhm.
what those things are. And then look at what you want to achieve and see how you can like marry those two kind of streams together. It's like it's super low, just low lift, right? I'm not it's just spending some time with yourself, being really
Mhm.
honest about it, because I think a lot of us, we just, we want to try to grow to be a different kind of person. And I'm not saying that growth is bad. I'm like all about like growth is great, right? But growth on your terms, and growth without too much compromise for yourself. And how are you growing in a way that's aligned with who you are? So that's just what I would do. It's just so you know what those facts are. Then what you choose to do with it after that, that's a whole other story, whole other project. But make sure you really do know yourself. I think a lot of us think we know ourselves, but we're still wearing that mask.
Absolutely. Well, Jen, it's a good place to leave it. And I'm tagging onto yours. I love it because it gets overlooked so much. So often we're told to just press on, push through, like this time with vision boards and getting to know ourselves and stating our vision and our values. We're told that it's extra or that it's soft stuff, and that couldn't be further from the truth. So, thank you for sharing um, your experience with something that I absolutely am 100% behind, which is giving yourself that space to be who you are and to operate the way that you operate and follow things that give you energy. So thank you for that. And yeah, go buy and read Jen's book because it's amazing. It's called Lead Anyway. And yeah, Jen, thank you for being a part of the show.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be on the show and sipping out of my actually I can mug. And I can't wait to see you in person in real life
Yes,
again, hopefully
hopefully
very soon.
soon. Yeah. Thanks for joining me for Actually I Can. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube so you never miss an episode. And look for me over on Substack, where I write for founders every week and actually go a lot deeper on some of these conversations to give you more information about how it all aligns to the Brave framework and the founder's journey. Remember, discernment is a valuable skill. Think of this show as practice. Go do something brave today. Thanks for joining me on Actually I Can. We'll see you next time.